The barbershop, a vital part of any community, a place where hairstyles are handcrafted, community members gather, connections are made, and passionate conversations are had. So I invited a group of men to the legendary AJ's Barbershop in North Long Beach, California, to have conversations of greatness. Barbershop edition.
Who the fuck you think wrote that script? Why you niggas ain't rewrite your shit? Came up broke, didn't like that shit. Things I want, couldn't buy that shit. Now I wanna make this hit.
So I actually redefined what greatness is, and you hit the nail right on the head with commitment. I believe it's the commitment to seeking the best possible relationship between yourself, a person, or a thing. Because you said Michael Jordan, that's a person, right? What was that person committed to? What was his greatness committed to? A thing, basketball. We have people who are, I don't know if you guys ever watch Netflix, they have these documentaries on drug lords and kingpins and all that, and they interview their children. And almost all their children say that they were good parents, doting, loving fathers and mothers, right? But then out in the streets and out in their business profession, what was they doing? Slaughtering people and wreaking havoc. So, but they were committed to person, right? They were committed to being good parents and not letting their kids see what they did outside of the household. To me, that embodies that right now. Only real person I see that's mainstream like that is LeBron. Because he's doing these things that he's doing while he's still playing. He's showing his level of activism while he's still playing, opening the school while he's still playing. It's easy for these dudes to do this stuff after they're done. 15 years later, 10 years later, there's some post-basketball career, they're trying to figure out what else they're going to do. He's doing this while he's still actively one of the best players in the world.
Well, me, I feel that's anybody that's living life on their own terms, take control of their situation. Said, I want to be the best. I don't want to live by these made-up rules that the world says I have to live by. Because as we can see, more people taking L's going that route than people that take control of their life. There's more W's of people taking control of their life. So I feel greatness is when you take control of yourself, take control of your environment. Every day, I want to be great. That's my definition. That's what I feel greatness is.
I'm glad you said that too, because that's where I feel like the greatness lies. Greatness lies in the journey to get there. Because we all know people that have been great, right, at what they do. Because their greatness was committed to a thing. Prime example, your man in the news right now, the biggest name in the news right now, R. Kelly. He was committed to his craft, right? He was a great, as far as music is concerned, he was great, one of the greatest. Nothing outside of his life dictates that though. So he was committed his greatness to that one thing. And now look where he's fallen off that pedestal. He's fallen off the Mount Rushmore of, African American R&B singers because he wasn't committed to his own personal opinion.
You think so? You think
Yes.
he's falling off? I don't think somebody like him could fall off of greatness because people not in love with him as a person, they're in love with his talent. So it's like that music they gonna always be listening to. He gonna forever be great.
But to a combo about Kells, but definitely how we live, the things that we do, both in the spotlight and outside the spotlight, it all embodies a total package of what our greatness is. Like, on stage, in the studio, on track, R. Kelly's great. That'll never change. Same way in the boxing ring, Floyd Mayweather is great. I'd never bet against Floyd Mayweather in the boxing ring, but I wouldn't want to hang out with that fool personally. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we separate.
Right.
We separate. You know what I mean? People from the professional world, you can achieve greatness there.
Right.
And you got to create a whole other definition of greatness in your personal world, in terms of how you are as a parent. Like you said with those drug dealers. In their personal world, they were great parents, as they should be. But they were also great businessmen in their professional worlds, which included the need to go out and, throw some people some barrels of acid every now and then to protect their profits. That's, the same way in the corporate world, people will sue or middlemen or weasel other businesses to cut the competition, the same way that for example, Facebook did Snapchat when they jacked all their features and put it on Instagram when Snapchat didn't want to sell to Facebook. You know what I mean? That's like the corporate version of them dumping the execs of Snapchat into barrels of acid and just basically killing them off. So that exists in every shape and form. But like Dre said, it's by your own personal definition.
That's why I said greatness is not contingent upon anybody else's opinion. It don't matter what everybody else thought, what that man think about himself. Do he think he was a great person? Do I think I'm great? Do I think I've reached greatness? Have I exceeded my expectation by any means necessary? Look at all the stuff that Malcolm X did to make himself get to where he was at. A lot of people was opposed to what he was saying and what he was doing. He was an enemy to a lot of people, but that doesn't make him less great. Just because on our side of the spectrum we look at him as a hero, there's some people who looked at him like he was a bastard and he should have been. So greatness is a Martin Luther King, everything. Greatness is just based on what you think.
I think some people was born great.
I think everyone's born great.
They know who they are.
Everyone is
Exactly.
I don't think everyone's born. I think the seed of greatness is in everybody.
Everybody not gonna be great.
I think the seed is inside
Some
everybody.
people could be good, but think everybody ain't gonna be great.
I think everybody is born great. I agree with you on that. But society has a way of taking that greatness out of it.
Okay.
Different things in society do to you, man. They throw all kinds of stuff at you, man. Little drama, racism, and all that kind of stuff. And then
things like that. It's like that always baffles me how people can have these dual personalities, these dual lives. And it's like one thing I always say to myself is, what does your greatness allow? Does your greatness allow you to come home and be the world's greatest man, but be out there you're a murderer? So you, like you said, Seven, it's all about your individual interpretation. Okay, no man with any kind of self-respect or woman or any kind of level of self-esteem will say, I'm being the best person I can, but I'm scamming people and I'm making all this money and I'm ruining people's lives, I'm jacking their retirements, I'm fucking their lives up. I feel like I'm being successful, I'm driving a big house, my family's taken care of, that's my level of greatness. That's, to me, in just my mind, that's beyond the realm. And there's a book called The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, and it talks about that. We all have a natural self-esteem, and it comes from doing things and achieving things. And that is what gives people these high level of self-esteem, right? Because you've done things to actually boost that and garner that level of self-esteem. But if how you got there was malicious and malice, and you left a wake of tragedy in your way, are you really great? Even though you match your definition, are you really great?
I think that's what I'm saying. So it's just based on your what you consider.
Somebody answer this. Why when we talk about greatness, and it rung true in my head, and it just like light bulb when Hugo said Michael Jordan. That's one of the things I've talked about on numerous occasions is why when we talk about greatness, we look towards the history books. We look towards our athletes, our celebrities, our entertainers for visions of what greatness is. But when we peel back that curtain, they suffer from the same demons we suffer from. They just got different tools.
Because they the most polarized figures.
So why do we look towards the history book for greatness versus each other?
No, we
in this room.
We reference the history books too.
Like you say, you reference things of what you see. So like, okay, what do you take for him to get the greatness? Even though we have to say it comes with a thing, this thing is basketball. You know what I mean? But like I said, every person that did are successful, they have to be with their craft. So we're recognizing their craft.
Yeah.
Like their outside life we know nothing about. You know what I mean?
Plug it.
At the same time, I knew what he could play.
No, for real, Robert through a how, which is humbleness through obedience through hard work day. So the thing is, first of all, you gotta be humble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're gonna have to work, it's work ethic. You gotta be obedient as far as whatever your craft is, you gotta work at it. Put the time in.
See, when I think about the greatness, I think about each individual greatness, right? But how we get caught up in admiring someone else's greatness, we never really work on our own, because the definition of greatness was the quality of being great, distinguished, or eminent. So it's a quality like every other quality that we have, right? And all those qualities can be worked on and improved upon, but greatness for some reason gets a pass. How many times have we talked about greatness when you hang out with your homeboys having a drink, or talking about how you want to be the best, you want to be legendary? I know people that do it now. Like I know Hugo does, I know Seven does it, right? But once again, that's not what you typically see when you get a group of fellas together, right? And I think it's Earl Nightingale that calls it a mastermind alliance. Right? We're not coming here to talk about the hood news, hood politics, or drama in the streets, or so-and-so wrestling with so-and-so. We're coming here to speak about how we can get ourselves better, how we can improve, how we can go to the next level, and how we can pass that down to our kids. That's ultimately what it's about. Okay, you're great, but if your greatness doesn't lead to a service for others, doesn't help others, doesn't benefit others, then are you truly great?
Comb it out, I'm gonna keep that.
You can't be truly great if your greatness only benefits you.
Constantly talking about here is that greatness is subjective. It's 100% subjective. It is your own personal perception of what you think the pinnacle of success is. And so what I like what you're bringing up is that when we're talking about success, success often needs to be bigger than just yourself. It needs to be how have you made a positive impact on the world to really define greatness. So I totally agree.
And then a lot of people are scared to be great because of the target that it puts on you.
Yeah.
So that's why it creates.
That speaks to what he was saying about how society kind of beats it out of you. It makes you not really want to reach for it.
But that's why people flock to the people that are bold enough to take on that. And then when that person don't live up to that pedestal that society and the people that they put us on, soon they find a chink in our armor to tear us down.
Yep.
Because we stood up and said, I want to be the best. It's like, it's more sheep than wolves out here. And sheep could be flocked. You just like everybody here should be somebody, and he has a following, he has a following, you have a following. But the minute we fall, that following is looking to tear us down and forgetting why they followed us in the first place. Because everybody wants to bring up, everybody loves the journey. But when you get there to the top, everybody wants you to be humble all of a sudden. So we gotta be careful with this word humble. Because why do I have to be humble? You didn't care when I was doing this stuff to get up. But now that I'm at the top, you feel like I'm flaunting it? No, I'm doing the same thing I did to be great that you considered I was great.
For someone else to put their definition of what your life and what your greatness should be, and then try to hold you accountable to their version of what your life should look like, that's a crime. That's BS.
Contributors in this.
I totally understand. I totally understand. My bad. But the thing is this, right? Because I don't know if I heard, maybe I heard just a tad bit of what a person's greatness is measured by you, your definition or the definition.
Individual,
right? But then also, we ain't talked about really nobody but somebody of influence that has been like either in social media that had millions and billions, you know? What if the greatness is just being able to put the best line possible on this guy that I think in North Long Beach, and then maybe he don't never come back again. But it was great at that moment, you know?
Because why? Because you pursued that, right? You set out to give him the best possible lineup that you can, right? You try to give each customer the best possible cut and the best possible cut experience that you can give them as they sit in your chair for 30, 45 minutes that they're there, right? And if he never comes back, does that tarnish you at all?
Well, possibly, because maybe he was my only one.
So was you
at
doing
that
it?
time.
So were you doing it for him or were you doing it for yourself?
Well, definitely I had to do it for myself.
Right.
You know, but here's the thing, like, so monetarily, right, or status, but take a janitor, right? 20 years on the job, right? Maybe his greatness was to keep that job, right? So then that led into other things, right? That led into how do we break up, or how do we try to manufacture in our kids greatness, right? Well, what if the greatness was there because I felt great about doing my job as a janitor, right? Never called off, you know, never had used a sick day or whatever, because my dad was a locksmith and he does something similar, right? But just that work ethic, because that's a part of it, right? Then I gave that to my child, a great work ethic, right? And then all they wanted to do was be a janitor, right? So it wasn't the millions or the billions, but just to be a great human being.